Many consider it to be the most haunted town in the state.
Dead bodies from the war would be dropped off to be embalmed after the battles of South Mountain and Antietam, Lot's female orphan asylum.
And is now there as a poltergeist throwing around pots, pans, and dishes. Welcome to Friday Night Ghost Frights. I'm author and ghost story Mike Ricksecker. Explore with us. I lived in Frederick, Maryland for 11 years, and many consider it to be the most haunted town in the state. When it was first settled, it was a major crossroad connecting the Northeast with settlements in Virginia and other southern colonies, as well as the western frontier. Today, it's still a major crossroad with many highways and state routes crisscrossing here in varying directions, including one that was featured in the Walking Dead comic book series. These days, Frederick is also a haunted crossroad.
The Historical Society of Frederick County, located in downtown Frederick, contains a bevy of information about the city's formative years and its role in the Civil War, but it was also once the site of the Lot's female orphan asylum. The house was originally built in 1820 but was turned into the orphanage in 1879, where it served in that capacity for 80 years. One of the Historical Society's most famous ghosts is that of a woman in a white dress that has been encountered on many occasions. She's said to have her hair tied up in a bun, and the dated style of clothing is out of the late 1800s with a high collar and long sleeves. Who she may be, no one knows for sure, but some suspect it may be Lizzie Cray, a former singing instructor, seamstress, cook, and even headmistress. She has been seen on a number of occasions wandering the corridors and sitting in an antique rocking chair. Other hauntings of the old orphanage include trunks moving around on their own and the sound of Avalon being played from an old phonograph. The phonograph, it is said, is quite a challenge to get working by hand, and no one is in the room when it starts to play.
Of course, there's the infamous legend of Barbara Fritchie, whether you believe the actual legend or not, but the museum house is haunted.
Barbara Fritchie gained notoriety as an American patriot during the Civil War when Southern troops led by General Stonewall Jackson marched through Frederick. In defiance of their occupation, Barbara is said to have hung her head out of the window and waved the Union stars and stripes at the troops. While there is ample evidence that shows that this likely never happened and is confused with another event, the John Greenleaf Whittier poem memorializing the event in 1864 rallied the Union troops. While mysteries abound about Barbara Fritchie's legend in life, mysteries also abound about her legend in death. On numerous occasions, Barbara's personal effects, which are displayed at the Barbara Fritchie House and Museum, have gone missing, only to be found again in odd places elsewhere around the house, most notably under the bed. A slide projector that tells the story of Barbara Fritchie's life will start up and always stop at Barbara's picture, no matter where in the presentation the slide had been placed. A number of workers have reported a mysterious indentation of a person of Barbara's stature left in her bed. They will straighten it only to find the indentation back hours later. One worker has even seen an apparition of Barbara, a quilt from the bed draped over her ghostly white legs as she rocked in an antique rocker.
One of the most haunted buildings in downtown Frederick is the current National Civil War Medicine Museum.
This building was used as a funeral home and Undertakers establishment for nearly a century, but during the Civil War it became something more. Since this Undertaker was located right near a local train depot, dead bodies from the war would be dropped off to be embalmed after the battles of South Mountain and Antietam, and then they would be shipped right back out later on the train, creating a gruesome procession in and out of the building. Since the museum has moved into the building, the ghosts of the war between the states have seemed to fit right in with the relics on display. The stomping of heavy boots on hardwood floors that no longer exist have been heard throughout the building, and sometimes screams emanate from the camp scene. A volunteer once spotted a young teenager in dated clothes on the second floor looking at one of the displays. The air chilled to the point that one's breath would crystallize, and the volunteer suddenly realized the boy was talking, but nothing he was saying could be heard. Other shadowy figures have been detected over the years, but another apparition was seen during one of the local ghost tours. A trembling woman insisted she had seen a pale, bearded face staring at her from one of the building's top floor windows after hours when no one was in the museum.
A little more modern but still very haunted is the Weinberg Center for the Performing Arts.
The Weinberg Center was originally the Tivoli Theater, Frederick's high-class theater built during the Roaring '20s. Prominently featured was a Wurlitzer pipe organ that is still there to this day. The resident ghost of the Weinberg Center is said to be Jimmy, a former projection operator who died of a heart attack. Jimmy doesn't like new employees working at the old theater and will often make a mess of the bathrooms when one is hired. He's been known to vandalize vending machines after hours as well, and strange power outages have been attributed to the spirit. Many have felt Jimmy's presence from behind when walking within the Weinberg, but one person realized he was never bothered again after a time in which he was walking out of the theater and he simply stated, "Good night, Jimmy."
Other downtown Frederick haunts include the former Gaslight Antiques, where a woman hung herself after losing her baby and is now there as a poltergeist throwing around pots, pans, and dishes.
The Tyler Spite House, built by John Tyler despite the city when they planned to build a road through his property.
And there's also City Hall. And that's just downtown Frederick. There are many other haunted locations throughout the entire city. That includes the Schifferstadt Museum, Jug Monument, Hood College, Searsville Mansion, Prospect Hall, the house where the A.B. Neb Shack had been, and Monocacy Battlefield. Throw in the local legends about the Snallygaster and the inspiration nearby for the Blair Witch Project, and it's no wonder Frederick, Maryland is considered the most haunted town in the state. Thank you for watching Friday Night Ghost Frights. Please let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below, and if you have not yet, please subscribe and click that little bell icon for notifications. I'm Mike Rick Secker. Until next Friday night.